there are times when people are using a lot of the people pleasing language. And this is the thing that I realized about myself. I'm like, I am like blaming someone else for my own inability to reveal who I really am. Like, I think when you take that radical responsibility and you're like, this isn't about anybody else's energy, this is only about my own choices, we have to look at where we just don't want to make choices.
Yeah.
I think the bigger thing is people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And when you don't know what you want, it's hard to make a stand for something. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be here?
Oh my God, it feels amazing.
It's
Dream team.
Dream team.
Dream
Back
team
in
at
action.
Dreamland.
Tynelli, Kaylan,
Yes.
CTC. I know, it's crazy. I wanted to ask you, I thought this would be the hot topic. What do you feel like have been your big themes of the year?
Oh my God. I mean, death and rebirth, like, to be so cliche.
No,
but
be more specific.
releasing. Okay, I'll be super specific. Healing my shadow healer self. And releasing patterns of fixing people, releasing patterns of people pleasing, and like, I don't even like to say people pleasing because it's such just like I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
But it's like such a deeply rooted thing. And like the ways that we are actually not living in integrity because we are just people pleasing. It's like not authentic to me. So releasing that. And also just really stepping into who the fuck I was meant to be on the planet, and really owning that, and really like, but also in like a not serious way. Like,
Yeah.
and just a let's just play with it way. Like, just do what you feel led to do right now and show up to it and see what it opens up for you. And it's opened up everything for me. So there is this really profound, like, there's the wound and the gift, you know, always.
Yeah.
A lot of, just a lot of identity deaths, in the sense of like looking at my ego and being like, oh wow, I was really holding on to that. And I can't anymore. Like, it's where I'm gonna go, I can't hold on to that anymore.
Like, what were you holding on to?
Again, just like identity as a healer, identity as what that made me as a friend, even like the victim in like my marriage, my relationship, like expecting the other person to do things and me having to really look at like, why am I not doing that for myself? Like, where am I the villain, basically, in my story? I think there was a lot of that, of, oh, this, like, not in with my marriage, but just in general with friendships and close people to me, like, oh, I want them to do this, or why are they not doing this? And it's like, well, what am I doing? I'm the one keeping myself there.
I think that's such a valuable question that nobody wants to ask. Where am I the villain? But I feel like I've talked about this a lot. I don't remember if I did a podcast episode on it. Probably did, but I was talking about it a good amount in the Ahai, one of the Ahai groups this year, around like some of my most powerful insights have been looking at like even like past lives. You know, everybody wants to go into the lives where they're so great, and it's like
they're Cleopatra.
Yeah, right. Nobody cares. But no, just kidding. But a lot of the insight has been the lives where like, I wasn't that great.
Yeah.
You know, I messed up. And that goes with this lifetime too, right? Like really looking at, whoa, I messed up here, and how can I grow, and how can I do that better? And what's the role that I'm playing? Like that is how you cut straight into the heart of things. And that's the real shadow work. And I think that's why so many people stay in these loops of like, I'm still healing, or I'm still working on myself, because they're not actually asking that question. And I think people get offended by that question, but it's like, for me, it's just this very neutral thing. Like, I'm here to explore myself, take ownership and accountability. And as much as I can love myself and like just think I'm a rock star and awesome, I also equally have to be able to really look at where I messed up, where I can grow. And I think for me, looking at like where am I the villain is the thing. And I know this won't make sense to people, but like it is the thing that makes me love myself. Like because the contrast.
Yeah.
It's just the contrast. It's like really seeing that and be like, oh, like I could do better there. I'm learning there, like having love, compassion, apologizing, I'm sorry. And also, okay, well, there's that. And then in contrast, though, look at this. Look at how I show up for people. Look at how, the skill I have. It's like holding all of that, I think, is really what allows us to appreciate ourselves. But this whole people pleasing thing, as you say that, I don't think I would have said that for myself, but I think I probably, that was a big theme for me too, probably. And I think a lot of people deal with that and don't know how to move past it. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on how to release that.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it's like classic, accept that you're the problem, right? Like admit that you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because I think so much resistance we have of just justifying why we should feel bad for this person, or justifying like why we're responsible for their feelings. And it's like actually not admitting like, hey, I am in a people-pleasing behavior right now. I think that was a big part of it for me, was just like not looking at the problem directly. So if you can look at it and you can understand like, hey, I'm acting out of integrity. Like if it were up to me, I would be doing this, but I'm not, because I'm trying to help this person in whatever way. If you can look at that directly, then that's the first part. And the second part is like, you have to act in accordance with what you truly, fully, wholeheartedly believe. And if you actually do that, then you don't ever actually have to feel bad, because you are still acting with love. You're carrying yourself with love. I mean, there's going to be, because this has happened to me. I've examined this on all fucking levels, right? Like it's been with people that I barely know, which actually sometimes I have the worst people pleasing behaviors for, that after I was able to see it, I was like, why the fuck am I caring so much about this person I truly don't know, don't even owe anything to, as opposed to like, we usually associate it with like the people closest to us that we love so much, that we don't want to hurt, that we don't want to disappoint, whatever. But it's like in there in all these different layers, right? And so looking at it, and then you just have to, like, what is it that I want? And that's, I think, why it's also hard for people, because it's so hard for people to get clear on like what it is that they actually want. What do you actually want to say? What do you actually believe about this situation? Like, what is actually in your best interest, And I guess I'll just get more specific with myself, with a very close relationship with me this year. We talk about, again, like the shadow healer, which I learned from you in our session. And I started to look at the world from a sense of like, why am I trying to be the hero? Like it all goes back to ego, right? It's like, yeah, I want to heal you because I want the hit of in the validation of like, I can do that. And I did this for you. Some people do it for other reasons, but for me, that's what it was. But I was telling myself that it was rooted in love. Oh no, I just share my love. I just share my like healing, whatever. And as long as you like have that distortion, I don't think that you can separate yourself and see the issue like for what it is. And so you have to be willing to look at it without like just clearly for what it is. And so with that close relationship and actually like setting a boundary and understanding what I needed, again, I had to have space. Because if you have a cord with that person and you're just in it all day, every day, it's going to be hard to see where you're having those people-pleasing behaviors. But so once I got that space, I was able to see like, I'm the one keeping myself in the, like, because this cycle is going to continue because it's not even my cycle. Like I'm choosing to stay in someone else's cycle. Yeah. And because I'm doing that, I'm also enabling them. I mean, maybe not, maybe whatever, but the cycle is continuing. I have a choice to either step out and take care of myself or not, But
this is the thing about people pleasing, like, and this is the importance of looking at it. It's so interesting because so many people say, yeah, I have that problem, but how it manifests, what it looks like for them is totally different for different people, right? And so for some people, I mean, you could say it's okay, well, you're enabling that cycle, or are you the one creating the cycle?
Yeah.
And I think for me, a lot of it, it's like very much, well, it's only my ego that cares what you think. Yeah. So like, this is all just for my ego because I want to be liked. I mean, that's messed up, right? That's just for my ego versus just what's authentic. But I think that looking at the actual mechanism and like even using different language is really important, because I do find there are times when people are using a lot of the people pleasing language. And this is the thing that I realized about myself. I'm like, I am like, without using this language, But if I really look at it, this is what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm like blaming someone else for my own inability to reveal who I really am. Like I am saying that you're pulling me in this cycle, or, you know, it's like I'm people pleasing, like they're pulling this out of me. They're making me blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it becomes a lot more obvious when you write it down on paper, I think. And I say this with so much love, but, you know, we get a lot of questions sent in, and there's a lot of things that people send to the effect of, you know, what am I supposed to do because so-and-so's acting this way, you know, my partner or my, you know, my family, or, you know, whoever it is. And like, I totally understand that dynamic. I totally understand, you know, living with people or having people close to you, and you're like feeling their energy and it's affecting you. But there's one POV that is, I'm perceiving this from the lens of like, I am just, you know, at the mercy of however they show up today. And there's the other POV that is, I make my own decisions, and I'm deciding if I'm living here, if I'm staying here, if I'm in this relationship, if I'm not, if I'm engaging with this, if I'm not, like, and I think when you take that radical responsibility and you're like, this isn't about anybody else's energy, this is only about my own choices, we have to look at where we just don't want to make choices.
Yeah.
And I think what you said gets right to the heart of the issue, which is, I think the bigger thing is people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And when you don't know what you want, it's hard to make a stand for something. But if you take that time to get really clear on what you want, then you know what choice to make, you know? But I think people pleasing can come out in really different ways for different people.
Yeah.
And really like subtle ways. And I think this dynamic, because I know both of us that like have this around, like, you want to help people, you know? And I think there are a lot of times where, for me, I would give a lot of myself, and it wouldn't be kind of what came from that didn't make me feel appreciated.
Right.
And then I would get resentful, and I'd be like, I'm over this. But the problem was, I wasn't recognizing that I was making the choice to give. Like, I was making that choice. And so I either own that choice, Christina, and just give. And like, there can't be expectation with that.
Right.
I'm doing it because I want to. And that's it. I want to because I enjoy the act of doing it. And that's it. There's no conditions to how they respond. There can't be. Or I don't actually want to do it.
Yeah.
And I do it anyway, and I betray myself, and then I'm upset because I'm betraying myself, and then I want to blame you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's at the heart of a lot of that version of people pleasing, I find. And that is a really interesting thing to look at, because then you start to judge yourself of like, okay, well, I'm going to judge myself if I admit I just don't really want to give here. I think that's okay.
Yeah. And I don't know what you think about this, but for me this year, I feel like I've just played with that a lot. Like, okay, let me discover both sides. And I'm just going to say no this time. Because I honestly don't feel like going to do whatever on a school night. You know? Like, I have just actually discovered that I need to be in my own energy a lot more. And I want to be in my own energy a lot more. And it's not that I don't want to hang out with you in general, but tonight I don't want to. Sorry. Like, you know, and it can still be with people that you love. And then there's sometimes that maybe I wouldn't show up and I would feel bad. And so I would have to look at that, or I would feel neutral. It's like you have to kind of, at least in my opinion, just be willing to play with it like that, because sometimes it depends on the context, and it depends on like the scenario. I don't know if you've experienced that too, but like, once you're aware of it, then you can watch the feelings as they come up, and it's a lot easier to be like, okay, that is my ego, or, you know, no, I just said no because I thought it would make me feel empowered, but really I still did want to go, or whatever the example is. You know what I mean?
There was this point, I don't even remember, this was like way earlier in the year, where I was like, I'm going to make a commitment to myself that I'm only going to do what I want to do. And as soon as I set that intention, I was, you know, looking at every single thing I did all day. If it was professional, if it was personal, like, do I actually want to do this? And just how many things I didn't actually want to do, but I was doing it because it was habit, or I thought I should, but I didn't actually want to. And a lot of things I was doing because I had told myself I wanted to do it. But when I really asked that question, like, do I actually want to do this? No.
Yeah.
And I think I also realized in that, because I just pulled back, I started doing a lot less. Like I put a lot less effort into things because I was like, I don't really want to put all this effort into things. And I did realize how much I felt like I was holding up.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was holding up a lot of people, and it wasn't, I didn't even realize I was.
Yeah.
But the second I pulled away, like I'm going to do all of it, nobody else came in to handle it. And I thought, whoa, no wonder I was so tired.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't realize it, you know? And I think that can be a really illuminating practice, and just like setting that intention of like, I'm only going to do what I want to do. And then you start to write down all the things you do in your day, even if it's like, even if they're things you're like, it's not that I don't feel strongly either way, it's just a neutral. To me, all the neutrals are also just negative. And then you start to realize what's actually giving you energy and what's not. And I think for me, I realized how many things I was doing, not because I wanted to, but because I was judging what I thought I wanted based on the reflections from everybody around me.
Yeah.
And I was looking for that reflection. I think that's a really dangerous thing to do when you are someone who feels other people's energy, because their excitement will feel in your body like it's your excitement. Mm-hmm. So it was just, peeling back a lot of those layers. And it's just, I think, a game of radical responsibility. It's not a comfortable thing, you know, but people ask these questions like about a lot of things, but let's use people pleasing. Like, how do I stop people pleasing?
Yeah, that's do you want my dissertation? Like, do you want, do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, I want you to answer that.
How you stop people pleasing, I would say, get clear on what you want. Mm-hmm. Like, and this is on your own and in relationship. I think this is a big piece of this too, right? Is because there's a lot of this energy of like us not knowing how to be alone, us not knowing how to deal with our shit on our own too. So it's like, you know, this gets into the conversation of like where people act like their friends are their therapists and things like that, right? And there's just certain things that, like, for example, I was holding that more like therapist energy for some people. And it's like, well, because I was allowing that, you know? And so if you want to be the therapist for your friend group, first of all, like, I mean, this is a bad example. If you want to be the whatever energy healer of your friend group, because I don't want to say stuff about licensing and stuff, are you going to charge for it? Or like, is it for free? That was a big thing too, right? Like, people are going to come to you to ask you for things. And it's like, are you wanting to charge for it? Or are you just wanting to be the space holder because what? Is it because you want that validation? Is it because you just truly love it? Like, with every single thing that you're doing, you have to know why you're doing it too. To your point too about it not just being habit. So get clear on what you want. Get clear on how you want to feel with the people in your life, right? Do you want it to feel reciprocal? I mean, I would assume yes. And so then if you want it to feel reciprocal, then you have to be willing to look at, what do you give and what do other people give? And there's just simply going to be people who are never going to give you what you give, and then there are going to be people who at certain times can and at certain times can't, right? And so you have to be able to look at that from like not a wounded perspective, I would say, like being able to see people's actions and like take it just for what it is and not assign a story to it and not like take it personally. And then I would just say spend more time alone. Like just in general, if you spend more time alone and truly learn to enjoy your own energy, it's not only is it not going to affect you so much, like when other people either don't want to be with you or whatever, but you're just simply, again, going to have more space from any distortions. And you're going to feel immediately when you walk into that room. If you're in the same room every single day of the week, you're not going to feel like the difference necessarily, right? Because it's somewhere that you're saturated. But if you only go in there once a month, you're going to be like, oh, I either feel super filled up or I feel super fucking drained. And then I would just say you have to commit to it. Like you have to commit to seeing the ways that you're not doing it, because it's going to affect your ego, right? Like I went through this whole, I mean, this was even more than just this year for me, but I went through this whole thing where I was like all these close people and I had to put boundaries, and I felt like I had learned the quote unquote lesson. And then 2025 came to blow it all up in my face and show me where I wasn't doing that. Right. And some of the most like frustrating places is when it's people that I didn't even know. Like I was saying, like that would just come in and be like, oh, this is an example. This is kind of a dumb example, but it was really impactful for me. This person was like, can I go to this festival with you? So I like let them come with my group. Well, end of the day, they were just bad vibes. They were just bad vibes. And my group was this group of people that I love so much, that I care for. And it's like, I was the one that brought in this outsider because I wanted to be nice. It wasn't even like a quote good reason. Right. And so then I had to just basically live with the fact like I brought this on. Then I had to have this whole extra conversation with this other person that's like, it's nothing against you. It's just vibes aren't matching. So I had to like do all this cleanup, where if I would have just not been nice and be like, no, sorry, I'm going with the group. Yeah. Literally all of that could have been avoided. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Man, have we learned that lesson? Wow, has there been a lot of that? Like trying to be nice, but then like it's at your own expense.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, they're tough conversations. And I think I look at, okay, it's like, why do I struggle with people pleasing? Well, you don't want to set a boundary.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to set a boundary? What's the actual interaction going on of when I set a boundary and I'm aware of how that person responds? Some people will respond neutrally, positively, negatively, whatever. They're going to have their own response. And then how does that make me feel in my body? And I just don't want to feel that way.
Yeah.
And is it because I don't want to feel that way, or I don't want to be perceived a certain way? I don't want to be called a meanie or whatever it is, or a bitch, right? as adults like to say. And I think like really getting underneath that, you know, I'm curious, when you draw a boundary or you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Do you feel that in your body? Like, do you feel that in your body? Or for you, is it like, no, and then it feels good and it's clean?
No, I feel it in my body for sure.
What do you feel?
Especially depending on like what it is. And I've also learned to not justify it. No, I can't because whatever. No, I can't, sorry. You know, because like I don't owe anyone the reason. And a lot of that justification is that same behavior of like, I feel like I have to justify me not wanting to do something. I definitely, I will say though that like with the practice, it's gotten so much easier. I think for me, firstly, I drop into the body and I'm like, what do I want with this? And sometimes I have to wait 24 hours, 48 hours before I even respond. That's my human design. I don't remember what it was. You probably remember, but about making decisions. Yeah. But then when I say that, it does pretty instantly feel very liberating for me, because I took the time before to like sit with it. So I definitely don't just like make rash decisions, you know, just like, yes, no, whatever. Like I sit with it. Sometimes I ask someone else, like sometimes I ask my partner, although I've also kind of learned to not do that. Or if I do, it's more so to like see a reflection of what I actually want, because other people's voices can just so easily get in your head and all other people's like, you know, lens of what the issue is. But yeah, I would say once I make the decision like to say no to something, I very immediately am like, wow, I'm really glad that I did that, because it just also feels so different. Like you said, it's like a contrast of, oh my God, I have to go to this thing, or I have to do this thing, you know? Yeah. And I did that my whole fucking life, my whole life.
I think most people avoid it because in that moment, like if I say no, I can feel that person feel rejected. Yeah. And you feel them feel rejected, and then you feel guilty. Yeah. And then you realize, look at this layer, like these layers of conditioned responses. Oh, yeah. And how much I'm like, I've believed I'm responsible for everybody else's emotions, you know? And I think so much of that is, I think, like for me at least, surrendering and accepting all I can do is the best with what I have. Yeah. All I can do is honor myself and deliver this in as loving a way as I can, like knowing that, hey, they might have an emotion, and so I can just try to deliver it in a way of like just being very clear, this isn't, you know, anything negative toward you, like I'm just not feeling resonant here, and I can't control how they interpret it. Somebody can make me out to be a bad person if they want to.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has been like actually a deeper like control mechanisms. I think so much of people pleasing is just control problems. And obviously that's the opposite to surrender energy and openness energy. And I think that's more at the deeper layers. And I think control issues are really connected to our relationship with the divine.
Definitely.
And I think the more, what I know is the more I have, I'm channeling and I'm spending time with the divine and like living there, your control needs dissolve because they're not even relevant when you're on that plane, coming back to why a spiritual connection and practice is so powerful, so I'll maybe just leave people with that. There's a lot of awareness you can have, but I think we have to come down to the deeper layers and look at the actual, what we're talking about before, like the mechanism of what's actually going on there. Like, could I break down a specific scenario where I was people pleasing and like what was actually going on? Because I think people pleasing is just this la-di-da term. And if we can look at the actual flow of energy and how I felt and why I don't like it and what's going on for me and where that was conditioned and, the beliefs I have about that. And now I have a gold mine of stuff that I can look at that's really keeping me trapped in my own life.
Yeah.
And constantly feeling trapped with my choices. And I think an energy I notice with a lot of people and the way they talk is I'm like, everything you're saying, you so clearly believe that you are trapped in your own life. You so clearly have decided that nothing you decide is correct, that nothing you do is good. Like, so you've trapped yourself there. And so you can't live your life that way. I mean, it's miserable. And so I would say you have to find those beliefs and those perceptions that are keeping you trapped and untangle those. Yeah. And I mean, it's just the only way. Yeah. It's just the only way, you got to free yourself. So I think this is going to be a really important theme going into the next year because we are meant to be in connection and collaboration and, in community, but we can't do that in a healthy way until we kind of like untangle this and then re-enter. And I think a lot of people have just resolved to, I'm just going to go hermit and like peace out. And they think, their problem is solved because they're just avoiding anything that would trigger it coming up. I mean, you just can't last, and I think this next year we've got to really, really look at this stuff and break through a lot of these glass ceilings we created for ourselves, you know? So hopefully today's episode gave some people some things to think about. And if you are listening and this brought up anything for you or you had any insights, journal prompts, realizations, please leave a comment below on the YouTube video or on a recent Instagram post. We would love to hear because I think this is I know this is such a big thing that people struggle with, this kind of people-pleasing energy, and it's a huge topic and it really helps to hear perspectives from other people, and I think just hearing a new perspective can unlock something totally different within you. You can actually do a lot of the legwork. So please share any insights you have from this. But thanks, Kaylan, for dropping in today. And thank you all for listening. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and we will chat with you again next episode.